In accordance with one of the late 20th century mantras of the left, the personal was political.
Yep.
Or became political. Okay. The personal level at which it started was Larry Carrillo was nominated for the John W. Campbell New Writer Award, and it was Reno, wasn't it? It was Renovation. I think it was the WorldCon in Reno. I could check my notes, but
yeah, there used to be an award called the John W. Campbell Award.
Yes, it's no longer called that. It's now called the Astounding Stories Award.
Doesn't matter.
Whatever.
What it is.
John W. Campbell was a extremely important 20th century science fiction editor who was right of center. So he goes to the event.
And this would presumably get your books on Barnes & Noble shelves and improve sales and sort of burnish your reputation as an important person. And, you know.
Yeah. If nothing else, it makes
a big award in science fiction.
Right.
Okay.
And it was presented at WorldCon along with the Hugos.
Yeah.
And the membership of WorldCon voted on it.
Yeah, and Larry didn't think he was going to win, but he was excited. He thought Larry is a big nerd. He's just the nicest, most generous guy in person. He went to Reno with a big open heart, thinking everyone's going to welcome him with an open heart, and instead people called him baby killer and would not invite him to parties. Well, he owned a gun store. Or had in the past, he had previously owned a gun store, right? You're a merchant of death. I don't know if he coined the phrase international lord of hate coming out of this, or if this is one of the things he was called.
It was a movement that was going on throughout genre stuff, including, I mean, you know Gamergate.
Yep.
It is related to that intimately.
Although I think this actually precedes Gamergate by a couple years.
Things started, all the bad things in the world started in sci-fi, as well as all the good things.
Yeah, right. So Larry is an accountant. He goes and looks at the contest rules and how this works. And he says, oh, this is not the whole world voting on the best fantasy books. This is like 500 people. This is a little club, and it's mostly the same 500 people. And they show up, and it's their annual party of friends.
And they get lobbied by certain publishers.
Where they get dressed as squirrels, and they get to meet their writing heroes. And he said, well, I know that some of my readers go to these things, and he did the math and said, I am confident that I can make recommendations and they will become finalists. And there's discussion happening on panels, in blogs, on Twitter about this stuff. And Larry says this is I could make
all you need is to
be
buy a
finalists.
membership to the WorldCon to vote for.
But even without buying a membership, right? So this is subsequent. First is I have enough fans who are attending. I can make finalists. Yeah. They tell him no, you can't. And he says, well, I'm going to do it. And lo and behold, he does, right? And there he puts forward a kind of a slate. And like the next year, Larry, Slater are all finalists. Now he said up front, I don't have enough votes to win. Mm-hmm. I can make finalists. Right. And the next year, is it the next year? Maybe it's over 2 or 3 years.
2013.
It's in Spokane, which is like 2016, right. Isn't it? Where there's a strong reaction back against this stuff. Okay, so
and it is coordinated and planned,
and absolutely coordinated, and it's coordinated with some of the science fiction publishers and with some fairly big names in science fiction and fantasy writers. Okay, to get
where did that name come from?
That's what he called them.
It's very stupid. I mean, it's silly.
There was a cartoon, right?
Well, no, because it was like there's that Sarah McLachlan, Arms of the Angel SPCA.
Oh yeah,
with all the sad dogs.
Oh, I remember that ad.
That boring liberal message fiction was the leading cause of puppy sadness.
Puppy sadness.
It's the silliest,
right. It's a good line.
Right. World, you know.
Then so he was his crusade had gone beyond, or his efforts had gone beyond this kind of like personal, you're just insulting me and I want to show you that you guys are just a clique, to I'm going to try to actually put some writers that I like in front of people. So, for example, in the finalists, the best editor long form finalists included Tony Weissoff, and
he was like, "Here is a list of things I think are good that I'm recommending." That got twisted into Larry told everybody who to vote for. Right? That's not the same.
And that's not what.
Thing.
Right. There was not a conspiracy. on the so-called right. There was a conspiracy to shut it all down on the. It was fixed.
Yeah,
it was absolutely fixed.
And what happened was a massive number of non-attending votes flooded in. I think previous to that year, so it's like a ranked choice voting,
and there's no way to check where they were. It's just you just paid the money.
It's anonymous.
So, yeah. It's
you can call yourself whatever.
Yeah.
So
it's like a ranked choice voting, but one of the options for every category is none of the above. So in theory, you could have no award, and that had only happened like twice before. It almost never happened. There were 5 no awards that year, and
all of the ones that were
contested,
that were Sad Puppies contest,
and
it wasn't just that. I was in the green room in the backstage, with Tony, and they had prepared beforehand. There were coasters that were asterisks because they called it the asterisk, and it's like, how do you?
Also a reference to the sphincter.
That's true. But how do you? These were woodcut coasters. It's like they did it in advance. It was prepared. It was all set up. Advance. It was set up to humiliate these people in person at this event.
Yeah, here's your wooden asterisk asshole.
I felt like killing them. So Tony was really professional about it. I felt like wringing their frickin' necks over that.
So like for example, so here's the moment for me where I was like, wow, you people you're destroying this house.
Yeah.
It was the Editor Long Form Award. Okay. So again, Tony Weissoff is a finalist. Tony, by the way, won more votes than any previous winner had. A non-fixed election, Tony Weissoff would have won the award. That was.
She's hugely involved with fandom. And fanzines and
David Gerald was hosting. He was the MC, and he said in this category,
who's just
no
a complete
award.
Tool and asshole.
He's a complete asshole. He's part of this. Yeah. So the immediate response is booing.
Yeah.
Right.
Because no award.
Because no award won. Because what this is saying is, rather than give the award to any of these important science fiction editors, by the way, happen to be women.
Yeah.
In the name of our liberal politics, we would rather burn the house down.
They weren't booing.
They were booing the fact that these little speech fascists had blown the whole thing up, rather than have the terrible possibility that Tony Weissoff might get a Hugo Award.
There was other organization going on. There was an alternate award ceremony hosted by another asshole,
George R. R.
Martin. We don't have to say his name.
Everyone knows.
We can totally say his name.
He set up.
I just don't want to give him any more.
Well, okay, somebody with a beard set up. This was the biggest a-hole move to me of the whole night.
Yes,
because this person who we won't name famously has had a Hugo losers party because he lost the Hugo one year. This is fun, right?
Sure.
And the winners are not allowed in, right? That's the whole thing, right? It's just for the people who lost.
I know. I went to one.
Yeah,
I'm a Hugo finalist.
And
Hugo losers party.
So this is cool, right?
96 though. What mattered.
What this person did was turn the Hugo Losers Award, party that year, into an alternate award ceremony.
Here are the people who should have won.
He gave out awards to people that not even people who were nominated, not like, right? Like just random. I'm sure their work was very good. I'm not like saying that, but like just gave out alternate awards completely just based on his opinion of who really, these wrong people hadn't gotten in, blah, 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 blah. And you're just like, what the hell is that, man?
But he was also sneering. Like there were people there who were nominees, who were finalists, and he at the end looked around and he said, well, I don't see anybody else here who's worthy of an award. And ended the ceremony that way. The whole thing was just like a gigantic. I mean, it's an antibody reaction. They felt threatened by Larry, who was proving he could consistently put finalists up, and I think they may be worried they were going to lose. So they reacted by
they were going to lose,
not just gaming it. Well, Tony would have won, but like actually being giant a-holes about the whole thing.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing I felt terrible for, was there were people. who kind of like didn't even know anything about this.
That's the thing.
And like and Larry read their book for Vox
good
Day.
people.
Like thought their story was great and got it nominated.
Kevin Anderson, a perfectly decent,
and the fan writer guy that was heavily Chattacon connected. I mean, LibertyCon connected. What's his name? I forget. But they were just nice people, and they just loved science fiction, and they were so happy that they were nominated, and then they just just did that to them, right? And I just
in public,
and it was heavily done by editors at Science Fiction Imprints. One of the main one
in particular,
who we will not name either, but and after that I was just like, I want to take these fuckers down.
Okay, so
we also had a great party. I would say
to zoom out
excellent
a little
party
bit
that night in our suite.
From the specifics of the episode. What it sounds like the broad takeaway is there was a kind of coup almost of the science fiction community. Or at least a kind of declaration that from this point forward, there are going to be certain people who are going to be gate-kept out of prestige science fiction. Exactly. You're not going to win any awards. You're not going to be able to participate in these big publisher events, et cetera. And it sounds like a lot of influential people who perhaps might have been in a position to say no to that, instead went along with
participated.
That's right.
And the thing is that it may have been that was already happening.
Well, so this is my question. It sounds like this is just the manifestation of a long-term trend, and it was going to happen at some point eventually.
But the way they did it was so
breaks through the skin.
So
they've changed the name of the Campbell Award because people are like, oh, he's racist or whatever the hell. It's like he's the most important editor in the history of science fiction, guys. Also, right? I don't know how it's still called the Hugo, because I'm pretty sure
Hugo Gernsback was
it like
some 21st century progressive.
But they at the same time, like the World Fantasy Award, they changed it.
Took the statue.
Because it was a Gay-Ann Wilson. It was this cool, Gay-Ann Wilson did all those Playboy cartoons and designed this bust of Lovecraft. H.P. Lovecraft, and they were like, we can't have Lovecraft, and so
it was called the Howie.
It was called the Howie, so they changed that. And like, I've talked to people who have been around and who've won them, and they're just like, man, I wish they hadn't changed that, but like they felt scared to say anything. And I'm like, well, maybe if a few of us would have said something, but there's just this like, and it just eats itself, right? I mean, so you kind of talked about they ruined the Hugos.
And the Hugos just kind of continued to clown themselves and kept giving the awards to the same people,
right?
And literally often the same individuals again and again.
The problem is, and this is like a broader thing, which I know you, L0m3z, in this context, have talked about, right? Like, it takes, it takes a lot of time to build an institution, and it unfortunately doesn't take much time to tear it down. And so, I mean, who knows? I guess maybe the Dragon Awards, but the Hugos were 70 years old, and so
they spit on the legacy.
They destroyed the legacy of this, and so I think I was a Hugo finalist. It was a big freaking deal. I was sitting next to Gardner Dochois, and and I was up for best short story of the year, and it was it's 96, and I was just like, this was one of the greatest things that I felt like an out of body experience with this. And then to have that that thing taken from me, but also taken from all these other great writers who have been honored by it.